Hello to those who are hopping on with us today. I am Becky from Diakonos, and Eddie is upstairs grabbing his lunch. Hi Panji and Rosalind and Bradley and Susan, nice to see you guys. I am so excited to be back doing something fun. And for those who watched or who gave feedback after our last show, I was looking for input as to what we should do next. And this bracelet that we're going to show today, super simple and easy. Was one that was highly rated, as was another which is just weaving with leather and rings. I'll do that next time. But then I threw in this fun little, I think it's really fun, knotted pearl. I don't think I've talked about knotting with leather and large hole pearls, and this just turned out so good. I made it for a show and I thought, well, that'd be an easy little kit. It doesn't have instructions, but it'll have a picture and I'll show you how to do it here. And then at the very end, I just had this, like, we're going to throw it in. We make these cute little bookmarks, purse tchotchkes that have a message, and this means it is for do not worry. It's got birds, flowers, jasper, carnelian. I'll explain that when we get to it. But that will be part of our show as well. So Eddie is back. I will get things cleared off a little bit so as to get ready to demo, but he's going to talk about stuff, right? Or what am I supposed to say? Hi, Eddie, and you're supposed to say what?
We're coming to you live from historic downtown Stoughton. It's the Ed and Becky Show. My name is Ed. Say hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
Becky says hi. So if you've done this before, you know the drill. If not, what we're going to do today is show you wonderful things. Becky's going to also give you some knowledge along the way as well, and learning new kits and new techniques. If you see something you like, once we start putting things in front of the camera, it might say lot number 1, or like this one says lot number 8. And you'll say, okay, if you like that, you'll say sold, lot number 8. It's just that easy. We'll assume you want quantity 1, but if for any reason you want more than one, you just let us know. And if you've shopped before, we know how to find you. If this is your first time shopping, you just need to send an email to becky@diakonosdesigns.com. That allows us to capture your email address so we can send you a secure click and pay invoice via Square. Today's specials are, if you spend over $100, you get 10% off. Over $250, you get 20% off. We have an unadvertised special. 3 or more kits are $3 off per kit. So the kits we're going to have today start as low as $18. And so if you got 3 kits, you could only spend $45. And I'll even tell you what, I'll even have the shipping be, you know, if all you got was 3 of the new Celtic Braid kits, we'll waive the free shipping even if you get to $45. So if you can get 3 kits for $15, and you get free shipping, you can't go wrong. But there's going to be all kinds of fun stuff here. I know you'll find ways to spend more and get free shipping. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Becky.
Thanks, Eddie. And then I forgot to mention that we do have a nice assortment of large hole pearls that I just have become captivated by pearls lately, and they are beautiful colors for the holidays, so I thought that would be kind of fun. All right, so we are going to get started. And holler at me if I don't hold this in the right place. It's been a while, and I want to be sure you get to see how things go. This is so super simple. The whole kit includes 6mm Rolo chain, a button, obviously, 2 different lengths of 1.5 mil leather, and then 2 little dangle beads on the ends, because no cord shall be left dangleless in my world. And so anyway, and they all have a slightly different button. We'll see that when we get to the actual kits. But there's a yard of leather, 2 yards of leather. So, and this particular one, I'm going to do them both with blue. I like this done as just with the same colors, actually, rather than multiple colors. But we're going to simply fold the leather in half and put the button in the middle, and then do a simple overhand knot. As far as placement goes, I'm always about having that knot be just right outside the perimeter of the button, so there's a little bit of extra, so that then when you latch it on the other end, you have a little room under the button for that knot to sit. So then you don't have your knots all bulked up. I'd rather have them next to each other rather than sitting on top of each other. So we've got that knot in there, and one of the things y'all know if you do much with leather is that any pre-stretching you can do is really good. It'll help keep things from stretching out once you're wearing the bracelet. So I hold that knot really hard, really snug, and then pull really hard both strands, and I could feel a lot of leather move through that knot. So it's worth taking a little extra time to pull them really strongly or really snugly. Next, we're going to go through the first link of the Rolo chain, and getting it started is always a little bit of putz, but it resolves very quickly. So the idea is that you've got 2 courses of leather, the chain is in the middle. That first Rolo chain, you're holding it up and down, pull it through, going right to left, trying not to get your chain all jambled up, and keeping it right up next to the button. So easy for me to say. So we have come through on one direction, right? Like so, right to left. I am making this harder than it needs to be. And then in theory, well, and in practice, we're going to turn it over and then go right to left on the other side. And once you're underway, all of this feels a little bit easier. The whole point in doing the always going right to left and flipping is that it keeps your stitches always coming from the same direction, so that once the piece is done, see how that edge looks? It's all nice and even, it doesn't go back and forth. That's why we do the go from the right to left every single time. But that also means that you really don't have to flip it. Like right here, I'm going to go right to left. You don't have to flip it in between. So right to left, turn it over. I'm just skipping this middle Rolo ring. We're going through every other, and now I'm going right to left over the top. And if you've ever done our original Nessie bracelet, this is exactly how that one goes. So I'm going to pull that up so I'm a little closer to the button here, now that you've got one stitch in. If you've ever done anything with knitting or crochet, you know that, or leather weaving like what we're doing here, you know that it is appropriate to kind of snug up along the way. So right to left, turn it, right to left, going right through the same opening that I just went through, and pull that snug. And I want to do just a few more stitches, and then I'm going to show you the second course. Ordinarily, what you would do is, so right to left, flip it, do it again. Ordinarily, what you would do is go all the way to the bottom with this, but because I want to show you how to do the next course, I don't want to have you sit through that. And I'll show you how we get the second round of leather going. And Eddie, feel free to pop in at any point. So that's the first stitch, and you would go all the way to the end. And the way the instructions, and this one does have instructions, it will explain that you weave all the way to the point where the woven part reaches the button when it's pulled snugly around your wrist. So I've pre-cut this off to be a little shorter so that it fits me perfectly, or an average wrist, because I'm so very average. So I would normally go all the way to the bottom and then do kind of a loose overhand knot just to hold it. And I will show you that finishing on a different bracelet, but I want to show you how you get this second round started. And this is so easy. So we're going to go through the top Rolo ring, the same one that already has two pieces of leather through it. We're going to go through one more time. It's a little snug, but not too snug. And again, pull the leather halfway, and it's important to go halfway. There's plenty enough leather to do this bracelet all the way, but you do want to be, if you weren't halfway and you only had 8 inches on one side, or I guess you should have 16, what would that be, whatever, 12 inches on one side, that would be too little. You want to have ideally 18 inches on each side. So I just went through this way. I'm going to turn it over and start the next round. And the reason is because if you didn't turn it over, then you're just going to be going right through here, and that doesn't feel right. You want to come up and around. So the second round of weaving really is going to come up and around what's already been woven and go right down through the middle, and then pull it snugly. And again, on the next round, you'll re-snug what you've already done. And this side on the left, I'm going around from the outside and down through the middle of that hole, and that's the first little woven braided stitch. And we're going to do it again. The cord on the right side comes up and over and down so you can see where you're headed.
Just keep thinking over and through, over and through, over and through. It's like you're diving into a pool. You're coming up and around, up on the diving board, which is the top of the ring, and you're diving into the center of the pool. And then you're going up and around on the diving board again, and you're coming around diving into the pool.
You know, it's funny, Ed teaches a lot of our classes, and we're going to be doing this in, early November? We're teaching this over at Viking Brew Pub, where we do something called Beads and Brews, where we get a bunch of ladies together after work to hang out and eat and drink and make merry and make bracelets. And so he's always thinking of ways to try to explain things that help people remember what the patterns are and whatnot. So as you can see, I think this becomes just richer as you go. And you see how I've caught up to myself here, pulling all that. It comes together and really has a very nice look. And as you know, when you're wearing leather, as you wear it, it gets, picks up a little bit of body oil and just looks even more cooler. So anyway, this is the essence of the basic stitch for our new Celtic braid.
So one thing you noticed that Becky did on the first weave, I call it kind of the cross weave, because they're on every ring the leathers cross at that junction of the ring it's being woven through. You'll notice on the second weave they never cross. The left side stays left, the right side stays right. And some of you might jump ahead and think, oh, I could just weave down one side and then weave down back the other side. And you theoretically could do that, but it does help on both of these courses, and we do encourage it in the instructions, that every 2 or 3 rings you're constantly tightening, snugging, bending the bracelet just to make sure it's got the exact right fit and feel, that you're not getting it too tight, not getting it too loose. So the same is true with the second course. It is beneficial and it's also kind of therapeutic too, that if you do them one ring at a time, then after every couple rings you just make sure they're super snug, and that you do the little bending, little twisting, and it's like, is it looking right, laying right, and then move on. So just an extra tip there, and again, those tips are in the instructions.
Good job, thank you, Eddie. All right, so I'm going to just show the way that we finish it on another bracelet, and I'm going to remove the leftover chain that I don't really need. And so all of your cords come out together at the bottom, and let me see, I gotta take my little dangle guys off. And I'm gonna do an overhand knot with the 2 cords together that were part of the first weave that was going from side to side around the around the roller chain. And then this is the most recent weave that was going up and over. I'm going to tuck that right through the knot, and that's where we're going to tie these little dangles on. But I'm keeping my knot as close up as I can to where I finished. Oh, and I'll remind you the sizing thing. For sizing, this is going to be a little bigger than average, but the idea would be to come up to where the button, when you're pulling it tight around your wrist, the button is right up close to the end of the bracelet. Tie this knot, and like all of our knots, give it a really good tug. Hold the knot, tie, oh wow, that really tightened up well. And then one more overhand knot to make the loop. And then it's a little bitty button, so not little bitty, but I need a little smaller space here. I made my loop a little too big for my liking. I'm gonna go about right there. And that's gonna fit just fine, yay. So then hold that knot, pull these really nice and snug, pull both directions, and then there are a couple little accent beads to make a cute little dangle. And I'm just going to tie that right on. And I'm going to have some of the kits that we put together. I had a number of people who work here as well as people who shop here give us input on some of the colorways. But if you like this concept, you know, like I say, it's just simply 6 mil chain, 1.5. The kit has 7 inches of 6 millimeter chain, 2 yards of 1.5 mil leather, and a button, and then beads, which you probably already have beads all over the place for dangling. So just going to snip the end of all of this off. Looks like I actually tied that. You know what I did? I tied that not where I wanted it. Oops, this is what I get for trying to do it. I wanted to put these dangles over here. So I'm not going to snip those off. I'm going to fix it after the show. But ordinarily I would put the dangles over here, not on the end here. So that is how we do the new Celtic braid. And I'm going to get started with a few of those, and then I'll do a demo on the braided or on the knotted pearls, and then we'll do some large hole pearls, and after that we will do the bookmark. So lot 1 is this colorway. So we've got a cool, most of these buttons I think are tiara cast, and that's I forget, what did they call that one, Eddie? It's the same one we use for Anastasia.
Something like wheat or
Yeah, something. Anyway, it's a good quality button, and this colorway uses natural purple and kind of a mauve and shiny gold. So it's a pretty and bold look. I shouldn't say bold, but as you can see, it wears beautifully. And you know, you can actually, yeah, either side looks pretty much just the same. And that is...
They call that thistle.
Thistle, thank you. Yes. All right, so that is lot 1. And we've got instructions that come with all of these, that as usual we've got photographs as well as diagrams so that it isn't too hard to figure out how to put them together. The natural purple color is a brand new one to Leather Cord USA, which is where we get most of our leather, and we really like it. It's a nice true purple. We've had violet before, and I actually, which is lovely. It's a beautiful color. It's just not true purple. Like our sports team here in town is the Vikings, and it's the same as the Minnesota Vikings color purple, and so this is a good color for that. That said, I don't think we have that listed on our website, do we? Did we add that, Eddie? Purple, natural purple leather?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. I was going to say, because you can always...
Everything we made with it was sounding like crazy, remember that?
Well, I was going to say, anytime if we ever put something online that's, or on a video like this, or a live show, that isn't online, we can always, we can make that happen after the fact, right? Can add it, or just make notes on your, on an order for another color and say to swap it if we don't have something. So lot 2 is beautifully done in brass, and so it has this also a little tear cast button that's a yummy little button, and antique brass chain, and then a natural blue and natural cyclamen, which is a lovely little look. And again, 6 mil. If you want to make up your own variations of this, it is 6 mil leather and 6 mil chain, 6 millimeter Rollo chain, and 1.5 millimeter leather. And most of our bracelets, we've typically done them with 8 inches of chain, but what we're realizing is in order to make we really don't, when we're doing a button bracelet, we don't need 8 inches of chain. So these do come with 7 inches of chain, because once you put the button on and all the rest, you still gain an additional, that's almost 2 inches, because of the space between the button and the chain and the end and the loop. So will easily still fit an 8.5 to 9 inch wrist, even with just the 7 inches of chain. Go ahead, Eddie. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So next is lot 3. This is kind of a good unisex colorway, black and brown, and we try to be wise when we do that and put in what is a kind of a neutral button. So this is a cute little carved button that feels like it would be suitable for a man or a woman, and we're using both natural leathers, natural black and natural light brown. And pretty sure this is, yes, natural light brown, and antique silver. So a little bit of a cowgirl, cowboy look, perhaps. Lot 3. And I will say, like, I've got some of these that I made long ago and have been wearing, and as you wear them, you know, these are ones that I've worn. They just sort of, like I say, I love how leather gets when it absorbs a little bit of body oil and gets soft and yummy and good. So, all right, that's lot 3. Lot 4 is that second one that I demonstrated with. And this one is a little more monochromatic, uses the natural turquoise leather. Yes, and has Becky's funky raw enclosure. But you will do yours properly. So do as I say, not as I do, right? And this is 2 courses of natural turquoise, and I really do like this little button. He looks sweet with that, and then it's just a more monochromatic look. So that 4 is natural turquoise. Antique copper, accents, and chain. And last but not least is lot 5, which is also the one that I demonstrated. So it's not finished, but I'll work on it while I'm showing you. And it is, let's see, I will do this one. This uses natural blue and natural blue. And when we do these where we use the same color of leather, one of the things that we do is we pack the kits and we cut the leather from 2 different spools, so even though it's the same color, because as you probably know if you've worked with leather, every spool is just ever so slightly different. And we figure that just adds a little bit of interest and dimension by having each of the strands come from a different spool. So if you have noticed that there is a slight color difference even on these that are very where it's the same color, that's what's up with that. They're from different spools. And I think, Eddie, you did pop in and say something about wiggling these around as you go to get it evened out and such. And so, you know, I would just reinforce that.
Yeah.
You know, wiggle them as you go, so as to keep the, you know, the leather kind of even until it's all woven in.
Show them what I was doing, where you'd accidentally go across the button and it would just, you know.
So what were you doing?
So,
here, you show them. This is so funny. I think this is so easy.
When your leather is long, it's like somehow I was doing this on you know, and all of a sudden you got just some wonkiness like that. So anytime you see wonkiness, you know, okay, something's not right. And it's more likely to happen in that first, second, or third course because the button's so much more near. But what I didn't do is I didn't go up on the diving board and jump right in the pool. I ended up going around to the other diving board on the other side of the pool and then jumped in. And so again, you know, the rule is the left and the right don't cross, and it's got to look kind of nice and even like this. So, but there is a fun thing with tone on tone, and we might. I don't know if this will screw you up, Becky.
No.
But this is this is like gunmetal and black and silver, and it's actually thicker leather, thicker chain, and we could call this lot number 19 or whatever, the Big Eddie.
Yeah.
So it's just a much, if you got a, you know, more unisex or even macho look to it.
Because you're so unisex and
Because
macho.
yes, I am unisex and macho. But anyway.
But yeah, that was so Ed.
We
in order to practice, so he could write instructions, took an old bracelet partly apart and wanted to make this one. But put that back under there because you can see just I want to like scale wise. it's 7mm chain, so
and 2mm leather.
and 2 mil leather, so it is a bigger, chunkier look. So if anybody's interested in that, we could do that as lot 19, and we'll make it up. And
And so I think, when we haven't ultimately decided all the carts we're going to put on the final cart that we put on our website, but we did find this tone on tone really emphasized the braid. There are some of these where there's complementary striping, looks beautiful. I mean, just gorgeous. But when you get them kind of tone on tone like this, it just really starts, more emphasize the dimensionality of the braid. So
you got it.
So we'll call this lot 19, and I'll go back and record those.
All righty. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate you.
And we'll call that one the Big Eddie.
Oh, we'll call it the Big Eddie. That's why he wanted to do that. So he has something named after him. Good job. So Diane and Monica have both decided they would like a couple of Big Eddies. So there you be, mister. All right, so what am I doing next? We got those done. Oh, we're going to move on to another quick little demo. And it is to show how to do this. And so this is sized so it goes around a wrist 3 times, but it also then makes a very suitable necklace. And let's see. We're going to have one with the peacock pearls, and then we're also going to have this with these lovely little red pearls. But I'm going to show you how it's done with this. So, let me see, get all my little bits and parts up. So, you see how this one has a little more flow? I've worn this one and I've stretched it and wiggled these knots quite a little bit. Not quite a little bit, but enough. This one I haven't done that with because I wanted you to see when you first knot it together, the knots, it kind of, the knots will cause it will be a little stiff, and it kind of has a, whatever. The knots change the direction of the cord in a way that isn't so quite so flowing. So it doesn't take long though to loosen up your knots, wiggle them once the whole bracelet is done, and then as you wear it, they all just get nice and smooth, which I think is lovely. So I've already started this. We're using some crimp, 1.5mm crimp ends on the leather, which I think are yummy. And I've made this with extender chain so that if the bracelet stretches out a little bit, you have some room to still make it fit properly. So I'll show you that as I finish this one. So each knot you want to pull super snug and right up next to the pearl. And the snugness is really, I think I've done I know I've done a video where we talked about knotting nylon cord and silk, but which is a little trickier. This isn't very tricky at all. So we are just simply when you put each bead on, pull it down really snug that helps press that last knot into place. And then I'm going to do an overhand knot that I move just really close right up to the bead. And then you can use your fingernail. If you don't have fingernails, just use your fingers and pull really hard. Sarah's asking, can we do this in Christmas colors, red and green? Yes, probably, with a gold or brass chain. So Mr. Guzman wandered out because I was talking and he has something to do. So I will remind him that that you have asked that question. So what we could probably do would be afterward take a picture of the red and green that we think would be good along with those chains, and then I can shoot you a picture of that. So if you want to be sure we've got your email, we'll be happy to do that. So putting on the next bead, pulling it really hard. You can even see that coming through. The pulling it tight is super important. The reason is with all these knots, if you don't pull it tight, those knots are going to tighten up as you wear, and then the bracelet will get long. And we don't like when bracelets are too long. So I have learned to do my absolute best to stretch and pull. And you see I'm almost pulling the finish off the leather, but that's going to be fine because the next bead is going to cover it up. The other thing that I did do with this leather is I pre-stretch, just like at the beginning before even tying any knots, I stretch the leather out. And I do that on this bracelet versus the other one because in this bracelet the leather is kind of the carrying cord, and so if it stretches, the bracelet will stretch. On the other bracelet, the chain is the carrier, so the chain isn't likely to stretch, so I don't worry about it as much. I mean, the chain won't stretch, period. Anyway, last bead that I'm going to put on, I'm pulling it really snug and then making another little loop. Another little basic overhand knot coming right up close. All right, Edward is back. So is there still a question on your screen? Sarah asked if we could do this in Christmas colors, and I said I thought we could, and I would send a picture afterward.
Sure.
So if you would be so kind as to make a note so we don't lose track of that, that would be good. All right, so there, got her done. Last but not least is putting on that little crimp, and I want to show you, so this is going to fit my average wrist perfectly. There are this many more beads, so 6 beads are going to give you at least another well, it'll be long enough to fit most every wrist, is I guess where I'm going with that. And or you can make cute little earrings. I'll show you an example of that as well. So one of the things I sometimes do is when I'm using this little finding, stick it in there and then pull it through. I didn't do this on the first end, I just glued it on, but if you pull it through, then you can snug it up really, really good. So I'm poking and it's a little tricky, as you can see, poking the leather through the crimp finding. Probably need to get it up there a little further. Oh, keep it on the screen, Becky. I'm trying, Eddie. I am trying. So now I'm kind of twisting it to get it up in there. It's not behaving the way that I want it to, but what's new? It behaves fine when I'm not doing it on a live show, and I don't have a good pliers here because, all right, I'm gonna just trim this with my very dull wire cutter. Nothing like having all the right tools when and where you need them. I'm gonna slide that on and poke it through. Grab the end. Oh my goodness, my pliers are miserable. They don't have a good point. You know, Eddie, does this happen to me like every other time I do a live show? Don't say it. I know it does.
You're the best.
All right, there, we got her.
I can throw some dad jokes.
We got her done. You're gonna throw dad jokes in? Oh my goodness, we did a class Wednesday night over for a church youth group, and Ed was doing dad jokes, and I was kind of mortified because some of them are, you know, just whatever, same old dad jokes, but the kids liked them. I was like, oh, the kids are gonna think you're lame, but no. In fact, somebody said they really liked the dad jokes. So anyway, so we are going to...
Guy runs into a this orthopedic surgeon, says, Doc, I broke my leg in 3 places. What do I do? The surgeon says, stop going to those 3 places. All right.
Anyway. All right, so I finally got that through. Pull it really tight. This is what lets me really snug it up close to my knot. And now I'm going to come in and crimp. And I'm using a round nose pliers. I'm finding that is the best. This is a 1.5 millimeter crimp. Works beautifully. I'm going to crimp it on one side, crimp it on the other side, and I'm pushing down, I'm pressing on the table to really get that squished. I'm gonna give it one more because I can, and being secure is good. So then test, all right, it's still wiggled, so that wasn't, so I'm gonna have to stand up and give it my body weight. I was trying to just give it my strength of squeezing on the table, but if I push down hard, I think that's gonna work. And so I'm pulling this really, really hard to test. And so this is why if you have this on here and if you pull it and it wasn't tight, then it's not hard to just retighten it again. So that's one of the reasons that I do that. So super snug, and if you want to put glue in there, you can. I generally don't. Once you get it on really snug, it's good. And then I'm gonna come in here and just snip that leather off, and then find my jump ring and attach the swivel lobster. So oh, I was going to show you a sizing thing. Let me do that once we're done. It will still matter. So I like to do these so that when this is on snug, I make it, I might even, if I was making this for me, I'd probably make it just like 2 beads, 2 pearls shorter, because this fits me perfectly right now. But it will stretch just ever so slightly because knots are going to loosen. And so I don't like it when one of them gets really long. So that's why we've got the extender chain. So then you can, if you make it so that so you're using a little extender chain to start, then as it stretches out a little bit, then you get closer and closer to the beginning of the chain, and you're not, or the beginning of the braid, or the knotted pearls, and you're not using so much of the extender chain. I think hopefully that makes sense. So if you make it a little short, then it will, as it stretches. And then that's another thing, you can see where here, as I pull this and stretch it, once it's all completed, and you can do that all along the way, but that you should do that as before you size, so that you've got as much pull and play out of the bracelet as possible. So so these come with a cute little, each of them is a little different, but 3 little decorative beads to pop in there. You don't have to use them, you can just do pearls if you like, but I kind of like the little pop of something. And then I threw in like 2 inches of this fun little decorative shell chain, just because I think it just adds a fun little bit of dimension. And I'm only using an absolute few of them, and I thought the extra is kind of fun because I bet you can make like earrings. I mean, this chain is yummy for earrings. It's just super good. It moves and flows and does exactly what this does and looks cute, at the base of something. I wanted to show you, if you have leftover pearls, which you probably will, this is a fun earring style that we like to do with pearls. That's just super simple and overhand knot, or you could use a slider knot there. So another idea. Obviously that works for leftover pearls from this kit or any of the pearls that we're going to have next. And then this is another style of bracelet that we've done a fair bit of, which is just this is that slider knot, or a barrel knot in between each pearl. It's a fun way to go too. If you can do an ordinary knot like we just did, or you can do a little bit bigger look where the knots show up even more. So thanks for the feedback on those earrings. We've been, like, whenever we do classes with beads and leather, I always finish with showing people how to make earrings like that style with the leftovers, and people kind of do enjoy that style. It's a little, kind of a little boho hippie-ish. Okay, so without being, too out there. So this is lot 6, and it is the peacock pearl bracelet. And includes all the little bits and parts. So you get 3 accent beads, the strands, a full strand of the pearls. I am going to have some of those pearls. They're $18. Those will be next if you would like just the pearls. And yeah, the swivel lobster and the extender chain and the little crimps so that you can finish it. It's just a fun way. I do like these little crimps. I've been using them more and more on leather. I have to say, my dear husband has left again. I'm going to just go holler upstairs and let him know that I need him to come back and write stuff down. Maybe he forgot that we're doing a live show. Hey, Edward? Edward? Yep. All right. So Ed is back.
Sorry.
So there was a question about, are the bracelets only peacock and berry colors? Yes, that is true. If you would like, for any of the other pearls that we have, because I do have other pearls, and we do have a lighter pink pearl coming up. That's just pearls. If you would like me to put together the other elements so that you could basically have this kit and have it go with the other pearls you're buying, how about when you bid on those pearls, say plus the kit and then tell me what color. Gold. I've used this particular swivel lobster we have in silver and gold only. But we've got other lobsters we can use if you'd rather have like antique copper or antique brass. So, and then I'm thinking, if you have a leather preference, this is natural dark brown. And then, no, this is natural antique brown, the blue. The red is natural dark brown. I think both of those are nice. I'll hold those up so you can see. Or you could pick any other leather color. So if you tell us in the comments, once we're into the pearls, what you'd like in terms of metal and metal color and leather color, or let us know if you want us to pick out what leather we think goes well, we're happy to do that. We'd be happy to do that too. So, alrighty, so this is lot 6. We're done with that. Are you good, Eddie?
Yep.
All right, so then lot 7 is the red pearls, or the cranberry color pearls, with the gold. Whoops.
Now that's Christmas.
It is. Well, that was sort of my idea. Christmassy without being too only Christmassy. My thinking was, it looks holiday-ish, but you could really wear it any old time. And so this is 1.5 mil leather on these two. So I will say this. So in that matters. Size matters on so many things. And 2 mil leather would be too big for most of the bead holes, and 1 mil leather would be. It's not strong enough to pull as hard as you should. If you guys have ever worked with 1 mil leather and pulled it hard, you can, we can break that with our bare hands. So, if you pull hard enough, and I would only do this, and I really do like to pull those knots really, really tight. And this you can pull very, very hard and not break it. So, yeah, I would say, well, yeah, so these are 1.5 mil leather. So 2 mil would be a bigger knot so that it would stand out a little much. And I'm looking at some of the other pearls coming up. There are some where the hole looks like, no, I'm thinking 1.5 mil is going to be the right leather width for any of these. So.
I'm asking if we have light pink pearl coming up.
We do.
Repeat the question.
we have, I think I already mentioned that, but we do have some light pink pearls coming up. I have some blush pearls and I have some peach pearls. So, yeah, here, I can show you. There we go. Those are the pearls that we have coming up. So, if any of those colors work, they will be coming shortly. In fact, they can come right now. All right, so let's get lot 7 out of the way. Lot 8 is going to be pearls like the ones that we were just working with, and I've got 9 more strands of those. So, and this is just a fun shape. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it looked great with that arrangement, you know, knots in between, but you could do about anything with these. You could just string them, and I absolutely, yeah, these are very nice quality. They're $18 a strand. I measured them. What's that? They kind of could. They're a little irregular. I'm not sure. Yeah, I thought about testing these with which jump rings to use if you were chevroning. You know, we have been doing pearl chevrons, which are really kind of fun. And so these are roughly 6 to 6.5 inches. Goodness, 6 to 6.5 millimeters wide by 7.5 to 8 millimeters long. Just a fun kind of irregular shape. 15-inch strands or 15.5-inch strands. And these would, you know, this concept, tying knots in between beads, you know, would work with large hole check beads, well, any large hole beads that fit on leather. And I had a sample I was going to grab and forgot to do it, but yeah, these all have large hole. These are all a good, well, 1.5 millimeter leather fits. I bet it's a 1.8 mil hole. And one of my ulterior motives in putting pearls up is if we sell a lot of pearls, then we're going to have to go to Tucson to buy more pearls, Ed, because we'll be all out. So,
yeah, so if we sell these few strands of pearls, we got to make a $3,500.
Yeah. Well, we've got other beads we need in Tucson too, so you know. All right, so that's lot 8. Lot 9 is the red pearls that we had, and these really are a very pretty holiday-ish color. Very similar in size to the blue and or the peacock. And these are $14 a strand. And the reason on the kits our pricing was a little different was because of the difference in price on the pearls. Some of these pearls have a little bit of, you know, they're not as high quality as the peacock. But we used gold findings, so the gold findings are a little more, so kind of that's why there's a slight price difference in the kits for the peacock versus the cranberry pearls. So lot 9 are these beautiful large hole cranberry pearls. Alrighty, so lot 10 is very similar to lot 8, except that these are ever so slightly smaller. So I've got 16 strands of peacock pearls. These are $18. And they're just ever so slightly smaller. So I think the range on the others was 6 to 6.5. These are 5 to 5.7 millimeters wide. And then the first lot 8 was 7.5 to 8 millimeters long. These are 6.5 to 7.5 millimeters long. So, but the color is very complementary. In fact, well, it's basically the same. So you could mix and match these if you like a little more irregular look. So on the left is lot 8 and on the right is lot 10. You can see they're quite similar, but for a little bit of size. So, large holes, beautiful nacre on these. Very good quality. For those of us who enjoy a yummy kind of denim-y, they go great with denim. All right, lot 11. I've got 6 strands of these really yummy, I didn't know quite what color green to call them, like kind of a forest green, but maybe with a little more bluishness. They're just a really pretty, there's a gold and a blue coloration to these. I like pearls that have a lot of interest and a lot of different kind of color, and these certainly give us that. And these are 9.5 to 10 millimeters, 1.5 millimeter leather. We'll go through them beautifully because they have nice large holes, as you can see. Again, 15-inch strand. How many beads would that be, Eddie? I know you're a good bead.
10 millimeter is 37 to 40 beads.
All right, there you go, 37 to 40 beads. Certainly plenty for necklaces, bracelets, whatever. I mean, it's long enough for a necklace with spacers in between or knots. So these are a light pink 8.5 to 9.5 millimeter pearl.
Did you skip 11?
No, 11 was the green. So these are large hole, and again quite a little bit of variation in the pink, so that they have a richer look than being just all same old, same old. There's lighter and darker, and they almost, they're a more bluey pink than a peachy pink. Coming up, we have some that are a little more peachy pink. So, alrighty, so that's lot 12. Lot 13 is, I'm calling these candy apple red. They're 7.5 to 8.5 mil. 20, well, they are. The other ones I called cranberry though, and I thought, but they are very cranberry-ish. They look either, whatever. It's trying to at least make a distinction in color. But I liked that, like some of these, like look at that. That one is almost gold. So some are more gold and burnished and orangey, and some are pure red. Like here, this one is solid red. You could take a strand apart. I mean, I love the mix for sure. But if you wanted to get pure about it, you could separate out the more red from the more orange. Maybe that's why I thought of apples, because apples are always such different colors, whereas cranberries are kind of, tend to be sort of the same color. So, anyway, these are 28, for the 15-inch strands, and they are large holes. I guess I didn't put that on my card, so I should remember to tell people that these are all large hole pearls. Yes, sir. Everything is large hole pearl. We just have a few more left, and then I'll do that quick bookmark, and then we'll be done. So, these are blush pearls that are lovely if you like a less bold coloring. A little smaller, 7.5 to 7.8 millimeters wide, and 7.6 to 8.2 millimeters long. Do you remember what is this shape? It's not a, oh shoot, I'm trying to think of the shape. No, the others were more of a potato pearl. This is, oh, you know, like one side is a little bit flattish, but not obnoxiously so. Sometimes, you know, pearls are flat on one side and it's mashed potatoes. No, it's not mashed potatoes. Be better, Becky. Remember these things. Anyway, they're beautiful color. Would blend lovely with some of these others. The reds, actually even those. So lot 14 is these yummy littles. And lot 15, I'm kind of going with food for my color names. I'm calling these grape. And they are 28. Oh, those last ones were 32. I forgot to mention that. These are 28 again. And just a gorgeous, yummy little color. Ah, yes. Thanks, Susan. It is like, honestly, between getting older and all the things, you know, just having your brain full of a million things, sometimes I'm less able than I wish I were to remember stuff. And I keep telling myself, well, I'm remembering the most important things, and most of the other things that aren't so important are things that I can look up. So there's that, right? So lot 15 is this beautiful grape. The candy apple red was lot 13. Thanks for asking. So lot 15 is these yummy little grape, and again, a little bit of good variation in those colors. As you look at them, you know, individually, you see that there's paler and more muted, and then a more intense, brighter, even, you know, some that get a little bit darker. So just a lot of interest and beauty in the coloring for lot 15. Lot 16 is what I'm calling light peach. And these also are large hole pearls, $28. And this also is a little less bold than some of the others. A little more muted color. And a good bit of variation. And any and all of these are going to work up beautifully. Well, like the designs I've done are all one color of pearl, but there's no reason you couldn't mix some of these. Obviously, as I showed a little bit ago, earrings that are so easy to make I do these with 2 strands like this, but I also do them with just 1. And it, you know, you can use, well, like that, the little crimp that I used on the end of the bracelet. Sometimes I'll just do 1 pearl, do that little crimp, hang it on an ear wire, and they're just elegant, yet not, you know, not overly pearly elegant, because you've got a little bit of leather in them, which I think is always nice. Alrighty, so that is lot 16 peach. Last lot of pearls is these, which are really kind of cool. They're a graduated peacock pearl. So the smallest, let's see, can we see that all on the screen? I think we can. So the smallest of them is about 5.8 millimeters, and then the largest is 7. And so those in the middle are 7 millimeters ish, and then out on the ends they're 5.8, and then graduated all the way through. So I think there's 4 sizes from what I can discern. Pearls are so, well, interesting that way. So it would make a beautiful necklace done, you know, to capture the fact that there is graduated size, but you could certainly take them apart. They're a beautiful little round pearl. We've done chevron bracelets with these little pearls. The 6 mil pearls that you've done chevrons with, Eddie, do they use the 6x8 ovals? What do you? Okay. So these work beautifully with a 6x8.
Well, but when they're smaller, these are small.
Oh.
It's the biggies. It's this size.
Oh, the bigger ones you do with 6.8?
Yeah.
Okay.
These could be 5x7s, or even 4x6s.
Wow. You're amazing. You got
Well, in
those
case
done.
you get to lot 19 again.
All right. Well, we will get to lot 19 again. All right. So these are lot 17.
Those are beautiful.
Aren't they yummy?
I don't even want to sell them. I'll buy them.
Ah, you're funny. All right. So now I'm just going to give you a really quick demo on our little face of God. Do not worry. Keychain, not keychain. Well, it could be a keychain or bookmark. So here's all of the goodies that will come with it, and it will have a picture that shows how to put together. I should say the pearl kits do not have instructions. They have a picture, and then this has a picture also, and then of course this video. So what we've done is arrange these so that this can come off. So this can be a bookmark, or is a bookmark, obviously useful as a bookmark, or you can just stick it in a cup or anything, you know, for people that aren't, or stick it in a plant. Doesn't have to be a bookmark. And then with the lobster, you could take it off, and then that can be a little purse tchotchke, or a, you know, to dangle anywhere you'd like. But it will come with all of the goodies, including the bird, the flower, jasper, this guy's jasper, this guy's carnelian, and then a few little accent beads, the leather, and the chain. And we've been making these for some time, and selling them at art shows, as well as at our shop. And the whole do not worry concept has been very appealing to people. I think there's just a lot of stress out there and anxiety in the world. And so this concept where we include birds and flowers and jasper and carnelian is our way of illustrating the scripture from Matthew that says, in essence, you know, God will take care of the birds of the air. He feeds them. He'll take care of the flowers of the field. He clothes them. They're beautiful, more beautiful than Solomon. So don't worry about what you're going to eat and drink. God is there and taking care of it all. And the jasper and the carnelian are from the scripture in Revelation that says the one sitting on the throne had the appearance of jasper and carnelian. So we like to work that into lots of our pieces as just the reminder of God's presence. So these go together super easy. First thing you do, and I guess there's no reason, if anybody's interested, the kit, it's lot 19, so, or 18, sorry. Ed's little add-on is lot 19, so we'll do that in just a second. But this would be lot 18 if you're so inclined. And they're $20. We're going to take the ring that came with off because we're going to use the lobster instead. But I'm going to connect the chain and the lobster to that ring, close it up. Easy for me to say. There we go. And actually, I suppose I can just attach these really quick while I'm at it. So, is this on screen? This is what we're making. So we're going to add the flower. So it comes with these 6 by 8 millimeter jump rings, and that's what we're going to use for the flower. And then the bird is going to hang right off the top jump ring. And these big ovals work nice for these larger charms where you have, there's a certain thickness, and a simple round like wouldn't clear that wing tip quite as nicely, so that's why we've used the larger oval rings. So this guy gets attached right at the top, and then the lobster, actually I'm going to attach this because it's easier to work with, so he goes there. And then I'm going to put it comes with a foot of leather, put that through, keep one side a little longer because I'm going to make a knot with him. I'm going to do a barrel knot because I just like the look of a barrel knot. You could just do an overhand, but a barrel knot, this is my carrier cord, this is my moving cord. I'm going to go up and over that, and then I'm going toward the top, toward the lobster. I'm going to go one more time and then string that through the little tunnel that I made. And there's our happy little knot. Pull him down. And then I got a little copper accent ring. And I love using copper in these because Job chapter 28 talks about mining practices in ancient times and how they would go under the surface of the earth to to discover all of these jewels, of course, jasper, carnelian stones and whatnot, but also to find iron, which would be melted, and ultimately they would extract from the iron copper for lots of uses. So there's enough leather to decide where you want those to dangle. I'm going to have these dangle a little longer, like so. So just keep my knots loose until I'm happy with where they're at. And let's think. I'm going to actually go a little longer. This will be longer than the first one. And that'll be that, and tie them tight. So this is lot 18 with the silver bird, the patina flower, and a large faceted 12 mil jasper. And then this just goes into the back of the book, and it's just a sweet little gift. I think people have enjoyed getting this for themselves, or just giving it to a friend who's stressing or worrying or going through a hard time in life. So that's part of why I wanted to share these today, because it's just one of those fun, meaningful little bits that it's a nice way to give somebody a little bit of encouragement and reminder that, you know, breathe, let go, let God, it is well. So there we go. That's lot 18. We'll include the little face of God and do not worry cards as well. That's that. And then Eddie has lot 19.
The Big Eddie.
The Big Eddie. And had you pre-made those? Or did... That's what he went upstairs for. Oh my goodness. So he went upstairs to get somebody to make these kits up. Oh my goodness. Edward. And so these are lot 19. It's written right there on the bag. If you've already made note and Eddie has liked your note, then you don't need to ask for them again. Oh, very good. We can make more, can't we? So we've chosen the big swirl button, silver 7mm chain, and these are also $18, Eddie, presuming.
For them today, and then if they bought 3 or more, they're only $15.
Oh, wonderful. So for you today, $18 and $15 if you buy 3 or more. So
And most everyone's bought 3 or more kits, and they're going to be getting a lot of fun $15 kits.
oh, wonderful. Gotta love that. So
And
yeah.
And the Pearl kits get $3 off. The Do Not Worry kits get $3 off if they're at 3 or more.
All right, so all the kits get $3 off if you buy 3 or more. So again, I'm just going to put these both on my wrist so you can sort of see the scale of the difference between the 7mm chain and 2mm leather and the 6mm chain and 1.5mm leather. Because if you like this concept, you know, we've got 7mm chain on the website and 6mm chain and all the leather. So you could make up your own arrangements. And we are using, you know, I wonder, we might want to put a little more than on 2 yards in, or what, how did you do that?
That was a yard of each.
A yard of each?
Yeah, and that was a full segment. It was more than enough.
Okay, it was more than enough. I just thought since it was all a little bit bigger. Okay, so there you go. This is lot 18, and I think we're done, Mr. Guzman.
That was
Oh, sorry, lot 19. Get it right, Becky. Lot 19. So, lot 19 is the Big Eddie. And we would appreciate any feedback on colors or designs, or if there's other colors that you'd like better. We're going to be introducing this as a new kit, and by putting it on a show like this, we get good feedback as to how it works, how it looks, or what you'd rather see, and that's always helpful. And we appreciate it very, very much, because Play and Beads has so many decisions every day, so it's helpful, you know, to know that, to get input from people that we love and trust and know have good taste and are willing to share. So we appreciate that. So Barb asked, can we show all the lots again? Are you asking for the pearl lots or the kit lots? I will wait. Ooh, antique brass with olive and natural tan. All right, you are speaking my language. I think, you know, I love monochromatic, and I love, like, army green is sort of my color. So that sounds absolutely lovely. Okay, so Barb wants to see those kits again. We can do that. So we have lot 19 up. Lot 1 looks like this. Lot 2 looks like this. Lot 3 is buttoned, but it looks like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Did it? Is it all fitting? Sorta. So I can just move trying to make it so you can see what the buttons look like too, because buttons matter. That's lot 4, and then lot 5 was the blue, so I'll just put him down here. The blue on blue with shiny silver. So on the big Ed, the 7 mil, how much chain is in there? 7 inches?
Yeah.
7 inches. Yep, all of these have 7 inches of chain. If you know that you need something with more than that, because you do, let us know and we will add another inch. If you have a very, but that a 7 inches of chain will easily make an 8.5 inch bracelet, almost 9 inch bracelet. So, and should I show lot 7, lot 6? This was lot 6. You don't see my little card. So this guy was lot 6 for that bracelet. And then this is lot 7. So the wrapped pearls, lot 7 on the right and lot 6 with no label on the left. Sorry about that. This place gets a little bit messy while we're working. We're doing our show. Anyway, all right. I think that's it.
Someone
Yes?
asked about the Big Eddie. You know that the sample only uses 6 inches of chain, and it fit a man wrist. So 7 inches
So
of.
this fit you?
So yes.
All right. So Ed is saying this sample uses 6 inches of chain. And how big is your wrist?
I have a 7 3/8 inch wrist.
So he has a 7 3/8 inch wrist.
And I wear about an 8 1/4 inch bracelet.
All right.
So you can
and
make
this
it even
used-
at least to 9 1/4 with all the material.
All right. So there you go. 9 1/4 on the Big Eddie.
If you need it.
All right. So Barb is asking lot 19, but with olive and antique brass. So the olive leather that we have is called Mahandi, and it is a shiny, it's not shiny, it's not metallic, but it is a coated leather. I wish they had an olive that was a natural, full natural leather, but you know what? I'm almost tempted to go grab that. As long as you're here, I'm going to go grab that Mahandi leather and I'll show you, and you can tell me if you like it. All right, so you can chat with me.
Okay. So while Becky is doing that, again, I had put in the feed that we're going to send out just one set of instructions. Let's say you ordered 6 Celtic bracelet kits, Celtic braided bracelet kits. We'll just send you one instruction, but you are welcome to have up to 6 instructions. So, but we'll assume one, but just let us know if you need more than one. Again, if this was your first time shopping, we just need an email sent to Becky@diakonosdesigns.com so that we know how to send you a secure click and pay invoice for your purchases. I will be working on invoices all afternoon, and we'll be shipping these this evening and tomorrow. Looking ahead, we'll be meeting again in 13 days. 13 days on Thursday night, October 31st, a special Halloween Eve super sale show. We're doing part 2 of our super sale components show. That first super sale components show practically sold out. So we've got plenty more fun stuff where that came from. And then our 2 shows in November are going to be super sale jewelry. 2 shows in November are going to be super sale jewelry. So look forward to those. Those will also be on Thursday nights from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. So Becky will hopefully be here. Yeah, Susan, we got, I think, Susan, you're up by Eau Claire or something, somewhere's in that range. We have your information on file, parole records, things of that nature. So, no, I'm kidding, of course. And we have Karen's information. I see you placed a bid there, Karen. I'll approve it in a second. But Becky is now back.
All right. Thanks everybody for being patient. So this is, we do not have Mahandi in 2 mil, but I can order it. This is Mahandi, which is what I would call as close to olive as it gets. And this is natural brass chain in, or, you know, antique brass chain in 6 millimeter. So that would be a combination that we could do. And then the only leathers I have that are even close that would work with 2 mil would be natural green and Goria, which are shown. And that's how those would look. So that would be kind of the Big Eddie size. And that Guaria, which is the shiny metallic in the middle, is I use that with brass all the time because I love how it looks. But it is not quite as olivey as this one. So you can see them all on the screen at once in order to better appreciate how those colors work. And if any of that is useful, or inspires you to say you want one done up with antique, neither of these are antique brass, and then this is the Mahandi, this is the 6 mil, that's the closest to olive that we've got, and then in the 7 mil, this is, or in the 2 mil leather that would go with the 7 mil chain, this is the closest that we've got, Goria and natural green. But I am inspired to perhaps order 2 mil Mahandi because I love the color and I think it would be great in that bigger size. And you know, because it just kind of blends, and I think it would all just look very much like a braid, even though it's got the metal in it that gives it a whole bunch of stability. So alrighty, so that is that. I ask your just let us know if via email if you'd like anything in addition to what's already on the feed. And so for your Big Eddie, Sarah, the color on the spool and the chain on the bottom. Okay, we will do that, and that's the 6 millimeter chain.
Well, if it's a Big Eddie, it's got to be.
Well, all right, so that's true. Okay, so for the Big Eddie, I guess that's what I was trying to explain, is that so would you like if Sarah, you want a Big Eddie in black with the brass, we can surely do that. That's easy.
Sounds like she wants brass and green.
Right, but then she said, can she swap the greens for black?
Yeah, of course.
So maybe what we should do is talk with Sarah and work it out over the phone. Now you've seen the colors, we can ring off and get to getting and let you get to getting, and we can, if you could email us your phone number, that would be the best, and then we'll give you a call back and figure out what you want to do. And alrighty, bless you guys, have a wonderful weekend. I hope everybody's enjoying some recovery and decent weather this weekend before it gets too cold and whatnot. So anyway, we appreciate you so much for playing beads with us. And I think, were you giving the overview, so there's no need for that? Alrighty.
The overview so they can be dismissed.
Alrighty. Love you. God bless you. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you. Bye.